welcome back to another video on the Ovenged channel. As you can see over my right shoulder here we have the Hoot loaded up. I had this kind of plan for this video that I was going to do a few little modifications to it, a few little fixes that need to be addressed, and they still do need to be addressed, but unfortunately I haven't had a chance to beat them out of the park yet. So I woke up this morning and it was like 13 or 14 degrees in the middle of November in Newfoundland. So I figured today's the day to do some testing on this thing and just see whatever happens. If it breaks, I'll fix all of it at once. Maybe I'll do a little video of repairing it. I'm not really sure, but we're actually going to head up the road here probably a half hour to my buddy Ronnie's house, and he actually has quite a bit of marshland beside his house, and his garage is right there. So if anything does break, it's going to be an easy tow and recovery to get it back to his garage, fix it, and then continue testing. Not really sure what we're going to get into, but he said there is a really cool little pond probably about 10 minutes away from his house that we can get to on the Hoot, and he's going to follow me on a quad or something, perhaps get a little bit more footage, but he's going to be the recovery guy, I guess, so hopefully his shit don't break down either. But yeah, that's where we're going to head right now. So guys, we've had our first initial test of the Hoot. And if I'm being quite honest with you, it really impressed me. There are some weak points that I'm definitely gonna have to get taken care of, but for the first initial test, I'm actually insanely happy with it. I didn't think it was gonna fare out as well as it did. So there's a few things that we're gonna have to address on this thing as well. I have a very rich carburetor. That carburetor on the Kohler engine is non-adjustable. Usually you'll have a fuel mixture screw or something like that. There's nothing there. There's a couple like little caps, aluminum caps over certain ports and whatnot. Kind of nervous to take them apart and see what's actually in there. There may be an adjustment screw, there may not. I did find one jet there that we could play with, probably get a smaller jet. Don't know if that will clean that up or not, but it's very rich, very smoky. And if you've seen in some angles that we were actually taking videos today, I actually had the main cowl part off. The air filter was off, like the air filter box was off as well. And that's the only way that I could get this thing to run half sensible, where it wasn't bailing black smoke out of there. It leaned it out just enough to get a bit more power to this thing. And yeah, it works out fine. I don't know in the future, maybe it does need like a little bit of a snorkel thing to get some fresh air as opposed to being buried down there in the heat with very little airflow to the back of that carburetor. Not really sure. I don't really want to go bastardizing this thing where I'm cutting holes and stuff into it, so I don't really know. I think what I'm going to actually do first and foremost, I'm going to do some research to see if I can either get that jet, to see if I can lean it out a bit, or if I can get a carburetor that I can put on the back of that engine and actually find mixture screws and get the proper carburetor that we could actually dial in. If you've seen in the video, it seems like it's very underpowered, and I'm not sure if it's because of where we have a rich condition or if it is in fact just underpowered. I'm a little bit bigger guy myself, I'm not going to deny it. I'm about 6'1", probably 220, 230, and maybe I'm just too heavy for it. I mean, it's not a huge vehicle, but it says they're good for 300 to 350 pounds, I believe, so quite a ways away from that yet. So I'm not sure, maybe it's just underpowered. Now I have found on the newer models, the newer Hoots, they actually run a 25 horsepower Kohler. This one is indeed a 15, it's a Command 15. Maybe I can do some research and get a Command 25 for that. Maybe, you know, I don't have to bastardize it, I don't have to put something stupid in there. I can actually get the right proper motor. Just give it that little bit more of an oomph down low. Top speed, perfect. You don't want this thing to go any faster, trust me. Especially where it bounces you around so much. But I just need a little bit more torque down low, because I'd love to get tracks on this thing. You can get plastic tracks off the Argo, but I just feel like down low, it doesn't have the power. Now with that being said, we had it in pretty sticky muskeg or bog or whatever you guys want to call it. So it did hold its own, but in the video, as you can see, I had to get off a couple times and just kind of push it out myself. It was kind of to the point that it was just high centered. It wasn't even really stuck. My buddy who was on the camera, he didn't even have to help me at all during this whole day that we were kind of playing with it. Now we never went very far because I figured, well, his garage is right there. If we did have a breakdown or something, it was very easy to get at, so I didn't go too far out of the way with it. On the next video, I think what we're gonna do, I still have some things that I gotta figure out. Once again, the fan blades are missing. I'm missing a couple fan blades. This lever needs to be fixed, and I still do have a crack here. And if you notice in the videos, these are a little bit loose. They're a little bit lively on me. So I want to take these off and fix that properly, but I want to powder coat them really bad, and they won't fit in my sandblast cabinet. So I'm gonna have to get these stripped and blasted somewhere, and then I'll powder coat them the right way, fix them. And yeah, that's gonna be that. But so I think what we're actually gonna do in the next stage of this build, it's not gonna be anything crazy. I may do a full bearing and seal kit within those pillow block bearings, because it's a very similar setup to what's in my Tirajet build, where it has that pillow block with the seal and the bearing and houses everything. When we did have a floating, we took the hood up, and my buddy was there he had chest waders on, and he seen a little bit of water dripping in through this axle seal. The way they're actually designed, it's like a secondary source of defense there, because it has the seal, the bearing, but it also has a grease nipple that you need to grease. And that grease actually creates a second barrier, so water can't get past the bearing and into the tub. So maybe it just needs to be greased. I never took any of that apart, unfortunately, because you got to take all the wheels off to get at those grease nipples. But maybe that's something I can look forward to in the future. But on the next video, the next time you do see this, I want a thorough test. I want to either have a quad or an Argo that we can kind of put it up against. Need to figure out the very, very rich condition. I'm not running that without the this cowl piece and everything on there. I don't feel comfortable. It needs something in case water does splash. I don't want that going in the carb. So this piece definitely needs to stay on. But I just don't know if the carb is going to run correctly underneath there. It's kind of buried. It's buried under this, buried under a filter, buried under a plastic piece once again. Maybe it doesn't need all those barriers, but maybe once again I could probably come up here with an air filter or something with a pod filter. Like I say, I don't really want to go cutting it, but if it's going to help this thing last and run a little bit nicer, well, I guess that's kind of what we have to do. Didn't get a hell of a lot of footage, but we got quite a bit to dip our toes in the water with this thing, and it's worth spending that a little bit extra time with. In the other videos, I mentioned that I thought this was going to be the Achilles heel of it, the drive system. It's doing very, very well. Now, before I close out this video, and someone kind of mentions that, well, maybe the belt's slipping. Well, usually when the belt's slipping, you will get a rev in the engine, but it wasn't that type of scenario. After those really, really sticky pulls out of those kind of holes, I could put my hand on the sheaves of the clutches and they were just lukewarm. So it's not like it was spinning. It wasn't revving to the point that the belt was slipping. It just feels like it doesn't have enough down low. Once the engine revs out and once you have it on hard packed surface, grass or something, it's pretty fast and pretty fun to whip around. But just down low, just to crawl out of stuff like that, I just don't think the engine has it. We're gonna find out if a carb fixes it with me rambling again at the end of the videos. Thanks for joining in again. You will see the Hoot again. We will do something with that. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for wasting your time here with me today. Shoot us a like, subscribe. You will be seeing the Hoot again. I'll see you on the next one.